Welcome to spring. Hey, look, it's Maryland, so I wore a Maryland shirt. But remember this old gal? Yeah, it's my KZ. Yeah, she's in the cover. Let's fix that. Also, welcome back to the channel. This is the spring will it start video for the KZ, because you never know. If you watched my last video, and I'll leave a link up top somewhere, it's been since October since I've ridden this bike, and yeah, I left fuel stabilizer in it and a little bit of seafoam, and we'll see if she starts. So with that, let's get the cover off. Oh, still another cover on it. There's a story behind there. Let's get this one off too. Yep, there's a story with this cover. These are Dalco Guardians, and they're great on a thing like a Vaquero or another bike with soft edges, but I think the hard edges sort of caught this one. It's ripped. The first cover that was on there I've had for 4 or 5 years now, and it was on my Vaquero for a few years. Worked great, love it, and it has no rips in it, so I've been a huge fan of that one. This bad boy's got to go in. This is my battery for it. It's AGM, so you can mount it all sorts of different angles, and on this bike the battery is really easy to get to, so let's do that now. Key goes in back here. Seat lifts up, take the key out, don't lose it. And it's got a little rig here. I'll bring you in to see it. This prop rod here keeps the seat up. It may give us enough room to put the battery in the battery tray. Red on one side, black on the other. I always like to hook the black side up first, so we'll go ahead and remove the screw for that. Should slot right in. There we go. Now we'll go ahead and start it, and the extra ring here is for my battery tender connection. Voila, good and tight. Now let's remove this bad boy. Got our 2 rings, set them on, and I already smell fuel, so I can only assume that the warmer spring temperatures mean she's ready to ride. This bike always has sort of fuel leaks, and sorry, people are mowing, because that's what people do this time of year. So we got a battery installed, click. Now we need the key, and now we'll try to start her up. We turn the key on, neutral, oil, and this bike has a clutch lockout. There's a clutch lever pulled in there. Seems to have the right amount of play to it, about 2 to 3 millimeters according to the factory manual. Fuel is set to on, choke on. Let's see if she starts up. Pull the clutch in. That right there is 2 tries, but what we're gonna do is I'm gonna set this bad boy to prime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. Flip it back to on. And now she started with the choke on. So we're gonna let it warm up for 30 seconds or so, and then try to bring the choke down. Now I'm just slowly taking it off choke as we go, just a little bit at a time, not letting it die. I like to keep the RPMs between 1 and 2,000, and let the old gal warm up slowly, you know, nice and easy. This bike is sat for 7 months, so give her a minute. Another thing you can do is to add a little bit of throttle. And the choke is completely off. So if you look now, the choke is completely off. And let's see if she'll idle. And there you go, she's idling. Hasn't been started in 7 months. A little bit of seafoam in the gas tank, a little bit of fuel stabilizer in the gas tank. She's running pretty good. I told you I smelled fuel earlier. I don't see anything underneath the bike. So all that is probably vapors from the gas tank a little bit. And normal. Hey, you want to hear a rev? Let's give her some revs. Sounds pretty good, huh? Not bad for a 41-year-old motorcycle. All right, well, let's take her on a shakedown run, huh? This outfit will not work for that. There, that's better. but we're still gonna need something else. This, my tire pressure gauge and compressor. So I'm gonna fill up the tires and then let's get on the road. All right, no BS. These tires haven't even been looked at since October. And I'm gonna show you exactly where they're sitting right now. Put this bad boy in. These are supposed to be at 36, and that's where I left them. What does that say? Can you read that? 30. Not too bad. Fill it up. Right on the money, and I like to leave a little extra in them. 38, right about where I want it, because you'll lose a little bit when you unscrew this. And when I get back from my test ride, that's when I'll check the chain, because I know you're already typing away at the keyboard. When are you going to mess with the chain? You got to keep the chain clean. Yeah, well, this chain's 40 years old. I really don't give a hoot about it, for lack of a better term. But, yeah, you can see it's still pretty wet, because I cleaned it right before the fall, so it was clean and everything when it was parked. And now I'm going to plug and see what the back one is. And I know you're thinking this is a dirty ass wheel, but I did the best I could to keep the chain stuff off of it. It's not my fault. Yeah, see? Definitely got some stuff on it. All right, where are we at on this bad boy? 30 on the money. Okay, fill it up. There you go, 38. You can see there, money. All right, let's unplug this. Unscrew it rather. Put our cap back on. And now we're ready to go for a ride. I just need you up here. And there you go. Now you're on. Let's get on the bike and go for a ride. Well, she sits, she idles. I took a quick trip around the block and then realized I left my phone. This is my Lifeline. This bike breaks down on me quite a lot. Well, compared to my other bikes anyway. So I just wanted to make sure I had that Lifeline. The biggest issues with this thing right now are, if you can see there, she leaks a little bit of oil out of all four of these gasket plug thingies. You can see a little bit of oil there. I cleaned this up all in the fall. And then over here, the rear wheel bearing is shot and it needs to go. And then there's a noise coming from, I think there's stator cover, something, I don't know. I'll look it up in my email. Other than that, I mean, this bike runs really well. All right, we got away from the house. Let's take this old girl for a ride. Can you guess the road we're gonna go down? Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch the visor down. I forgot my goggles, so I'll have to keep the speed down. Even with the visor, I still get a lot of wind up here because there's no windshield in front of me. So I like to block the wind a little bit. I use my visor for that. And they are still doing construction over here. Crazy talk. But yeah, oh, this bike just, I mean, you saw earlier, it just fired right up. That's awesome. I love it when a plan comes together. Hey, there we go. Hey, look at that. We made it through the construction. What's up, guys? Yeah, I know the audio is not going to be what you're used to out of the channel, but I have several subscribers that showed up here for the KZ content, and this is my way of saying thank you. I appreciate it. So if you're a Harley fan, fret not. I'll be back on the Street Glide in no time. You can bet on it. I love that Street Glide. But this bike, it's just something else. So we're gonna talk about that here in a minute, once I get on a side road, okay? Skip. Well, the brakes feel good, the clutch feels good, the shifting feels good. Man, this bike just feels good. Hell yeah. And I had it up to about 7,000 RPMs already, and she felt strong, ready to rock and roll. And now we're gonna cruise behind these yahoos, and that's fine, whatever. Hey, let them go. But this gives us a chance to talk about different kinds of bikes. Do you own different types of bikes, and do you ride different kinds of bikes? Because I really do enjoy hopping from like the Street Glide to this to my bobber. I don't exactly enjoy bobbing around on the bobber as much as I thought I would. The Springer seat, and it's just, wow, it's just uncomfortable. But this bike, oh man, this bike, A, it brings back memories, because everybody knows that my dad had one when I was a kid, and now I've got my own, and it's just such a smooth motorcycle. So it brings back the memories. It's a really smooth bike. it stirs the soul in a way that a V-twin cannot. Screaming at 8,000 RPMs. Honestly, I've never ridden a bike that went higher than that, I don't think so, and at least I've never had a bike under me doing more than 8,000 RPMs, but this one does, and it just wails, and it absolutely just gets you right here. It's like, I gotta go, let's go faster. So I love switching between the different bikes. It's a completely different riding experience. I mean, I've got the bad knees, so this rider triangle here with my knees bent and my feet underneath of me, it doesn't work well for long rides, but it does work well for short rides. This bike just, it begs you to lean harder, hit the throttle more. It just wants to be ridden hard. And I gotta say, I'm almost as old as this bike, and I don't feel that way. But oh man, what a pleasurable bike. So let's talk more about the KZ. But to my Harley riding viewers, because I know there are plenty of you, listen to this. Holy rip! See, now that went, let me slow down, sugar. All right, so that run, we didn't get going all that fast, and it took a lot longer than my Harley would. But this bike just, it wants you to rev it up. And it sounds, doesn't it sound good at 8,000 RPMs? I mean, prove me wrong. Anyway, this bike was built from 78 to 81 or 82, but it was only brought to the United States. Hey, it was only brought to the United States for, I think, 2 model years, 78 and 79. I've never seen a 1980 or 1981 model, but the 2 years it was brought here, I mean, this is the KZ650SR. So this is the stateside replica, some people call it. But what it means is it's got a dual disc brake setup up front and a single disc out back. Whereas, nice maneuver. Whereas the non-SR models, the B and C models, were a single disc up front and a drum out back. So you get upgraded brakes. The suspension, I think, is the same, but the fenders are different. Instead of chrome, you got color match. What is with people today driving on my side of the yellow? Jeez. So the SR has the paint matched fenders, and then it's got specific side covers, as you saw earlier. But beyond that, I mean, the SR, it's got some, it's got different gauges and stuff on it. It has, I think, different mirrors, and I'm sure some aficionados of the SR will chime in shortly to correct me if I'm wrong. And this is just a screamer of a bike. I mean, this corner here, you can just rip through the corners on this thing. This is an intersection, but she just wants to go! Oh my god, I totally need my freaking goggles because my eyes are watering now. I love this thing. It does not have any modern convenience. You've got 4 carburetors, 4 cylinders, 3 discs total, 2 shocks, a seat, handlebars, and some tins. And that's it, baby. That is it. No ABS, no traction control, no rider modes, no adjustable suspension. Okay, this one does have electronic fuel, not injection, spark. What do you call that? It doesn't have a distributor or points. Electronic ignition, yeah, that's it. It has electronic ignition on it. So it doesn't have the points and stuff. So I modernized that part. And I also replaced, I replaced the fuse box with an automotive style. But yeah, no link brakes, none of that nonsense. This is pure motorcycling, folks. I mean, you're in control of everything. And I just absolutely adore this bike. I mean, what's the downside? It doesn't really, it doesn't brake well from like 75 miles an hour. the brakes, they don't like that. It could be old fluid, I don't know. I'm not a mechanic, I just ride the thing and try to keep it shiny. But it doesn't brake well from that. And yeah, honestly, it's a little bit gutless. I'm in, I don't know, third or fourth gear. It'll accelerate, but it's not gonna like throw you off the back. It's just enough power. But I can't, I got this grinning, I can't even talk. I've got this poop-eating grin on my face, and I'm trying to not curse because I don't have to do so much work in the editor, but I've just got a grin on my face that won't quit. And yeah, I was in third gear because I just downshifted. Let's go. Oh my goodness. So she'll do stuff like that, but then you want to cruise along with the speed limit, just bump it up into fifth gear. I'm loping along at 2,900 RPMs, no problem. Just absolute peach of a bike. Absolute peach of a bike. The handling is really good, especially when you consider it's a 40-year-old bike. I mean, gee whiz. I don't handle this good, and I'm, like I said, not as old as this bike. But this thing, air-cooled, none of that liquid cooling stuff to worry about. Of course, my Harley's air-cooled too, but this one doesn't even have an oil cooler. And the nice thing is, on the Kawasaki's, at least of this vintage and my bobber, is that the bike, it has a sight glass to check the oil. So there's no dipstick to worry about. You just get the bike on a level surface, let the oil drain down, boom, you see how much oil you got. It's a great system. Give me the light, give me the light. We're not gonna get the light, are we? And I smell fuel. I'll have to wait till I get home and see if she's leaking. I got the car behind me to help trip the light, hopefully. Hey, there we go. Nice! And that's another thing. No self-canceling turn signals. I miss that. I'm so used to my Harley turning them off that I don't even bother with it. So my Kelly 7, I'm with you on that one, man. Except my Kawasaki's a lot older. So that's about going to wrap up my spring shakedown ride on the KZ650SR. I hope you enjoyed it. If you look forward to more KZ content on the channel, leave this video a like and let me know in the comments below. The more people comment they want to see KZ stuff, the more KZ stuff you'll see. I aim to please. So with that, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down, and that's the world's longest intro. Ta-da! Look how solid this bike is. I mean, this girl is balanced, right? Look at that, boom. Love it. I know this video is like hella long, but it's full of interesting content. At least I find it interesting, or else I wouldn't have left that stuff in. I got this Yahoo. Okay, he's on his phone. That's why he's a whole car length back. And we're up here. Think we can take him? I think we can. As long as I'm not leaking fuel. I'm having more fun than you! Oh, sugar, traffic. Okay, you're having more fun than me now. That's all right. I smell burning oil too. Yep, she leaks a little oil, she leaks a little fuel. Yeah, it's no big deal. It is the smell of a vintage motorcycle. But I really do enjoy this bike.